This is going to be build a charcoal basket for a drum smoker. You just saw a video about it if you were watching that. I'm using this is refabricated metal. I think it's 3/4 inch. I don't remember the gauge, but this is a 2 foot by 2 foot piece. Had this from an old smoker I had project. Then I turned something of this into a fire pit, and now it's going to be used for something different again. A lot of guys, what they'll do is take some metal and they'll wrap it around what would be the grate. This is the charcoal grate for a 22.5 inch kettle grill, and I'm going to use mine actually for a fire pit because I have extra refabricated metal. So I'm going to use a bolt cutters and I'm going to cut around this, and then the circle that I create will be the bottom of my charcoal basket. This fabricated metal will be the sides, and then I'm going to build some legs out of some U-bolts. I'll show you all that in just a couple minutes. Alright, what I've done so far here is that 2x2 piece of refabricated metal we talked about earlier. I sanded down the top, which I'll do to the bottom again then. And then I took a marker and traced out the charcoal grate that I was talking about on the 22.5 inch kettle grill. Sorry. And then I took these two pieces of refabricated metal here, and I bolted them together. I don't have a welder, so until I can get somebody to tack weld this for me, I just used some this I had in my shop from believe it or not, from another old smoker build. Right there. Size is 10-24 by 1/2. So it's a number 10 screw, 24 threads by 1/2 inch long. And then I used washers on either side. I started off with a small washer, which went up to the head of the screw. And then I put a large one over it. That helps me with the refabricated metal. So I go something like this. There's that, the little one. And then a large one. This is all stuff I had in my shop, so it's just kind of working out that way. And then it was put to the fabricated metal, and then the reverse order was done on the other side. So now I have a 1 foot tall piece by 48 inches long, and I can use that now to start putting around here. I'm gonna leave about, I have 1 foot tall. I want to have my basket about 8 or 9 inches deep, which is great because then that leaves me on the bottom here will be 2 or 3 inches, whatever I decide, for basically a foot, so I don't even have to put feet on this thing. Alright, so this is the difficult part. First off, what I just realized is that I told you earlier that was a 22.5 inch kettle charcoal grate. It's from an 18 inch. I don't know why I said the other. I'm sorry. Do not use that size. Use the 18. Otherwise you're going to have way too big of a charcoal basket. So what I'm trying to do here now is get an even measurement, because this will be my feet. I'm going to kind of bring this up and into here. So I'm going to try to aim for about 2 inches, just as temporary stays to help me get through all this disaster. I'm going to use some wire. It's galvanized, but that'll come back off. So that's just a temporary stay until I can get nuts and bolts and maybe have somebody tack weld this puppy for me together. So if this doesn't kill me, I'll be back in just a sec. Almost there. I'm holding a pretty good measurement, pretty consistent. You know, it's off by a tiny bit here and there, but that's just because of the way the grates all line up, the fabric and stuff like that. So what I am doing is I got halfway and 3/4 of the way around this whole thing, then I go back and I tighten up these temporary stays. Get them real tight because I'm going to make sure that I put other hardware into here. I'm not exactly sure just yet. It's probably going to be some sort of different kind of wire. It seems to be pretty easy to twist all that on and stuff, so maybe I'll get some copper wire that's real heavy gauge or thick gauge wire or something like that. But this is how it's going. I know that's probably difficult to see, but here it is. It's going like that for where there's the junction where the two pieces meet. So it's going all right, you know. Just slow and steady wins the race and this kind of thing. Kind of overwhelming. It's difficult to work it, but just bear with it. All right, got this bad boy together for the most part. We're looking okay. You know, really, it could be better, but could be a whole lot worse. And I'm not putting any money into having it welded, so I feel pretty comfortable with it. I have to get a couple more bolts, maybe some more on this side. I'd like to put 1 or 2 more here, and then definitely going to need several more on this side where you can see the overlapping, and then some sort of a handle so that it overlaps, maybe like a 5-gallon bucket handle here to here, so I can pull it in and out of my drum smoker pretty easily. But this is how you fuel it. Ready? Okay, so for the most part this is together. Like I said, I gotta get some screws into it yet on that side, but this is just a handle from a 5-gallon bucket, and I'll just kind of mash over. If you look at the inside here, I'll just kind of bend that over with a hammer or something like that, so I can still move the handle. But once you fill that up with your charcoal right inside your drum, and you're good to go. The only thing I might want to do in a little bit is get some sort of a tray on the bottom here as an ash catcher, so I don't have to try to clean out the inside of my drum all the time. But for the most part, it's right there. And then you can see down in here where the intakes are. 2, 3, 4 intake valves. Maybe you can't see it because of the lighting, but they're in there. And when I open them up, that we looked at earlier, it lets in all the airflow which goes underneath into here and feeds air to the whole pipe. So that's how I made the charcoal basket. Look around, see what else you can find for ideas, but that's my version. Thanks.